Welcome to a new live mentalism conversation. Today I am with a new kind of author, a new brother, a new interesting author to meet and to check his latest work that is fantastic. So thank you, Taha, for being with us. How are you?
Hey Pablo, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm
Yeah,
doing
of
really
course.
well.
Yeah, of course. I saw a few videos of kind of a young guy doing some very good readings, and I read some reviews, and I am very, very happy for this because the community needs kind of this conversation. So tell me a little bit
Mhm.
about your kind of background in mentalism. How did you find this interesting in doing readings?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been performing professionally for about 8 years now.
Nice.
It's sort of a mixture. I started my background is in science and engineering. So I studied engineering at first. I've always been fascinated by arts and theater. So I've done a lot of theater as well, music. And I discovered mentalism when I was in high school, and I fell in love with the capacity to amaze and like get in connection with people. And I was like, this is something I want to discover. So I started developing that more and more, reading like the classic books and learning stuff. And being very obsessional, I started learning all sorts of other connective arts. So I'm a trained hypnotherapist. I'm a master
Nice.
practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming, and
Nice.
I did a bunch of certifications in like neuroscience, cognitive psychology, negotiation, and stuff like that. Always fascinated by like how we can understand the human being more and what happens like between us in terms of communication.
Yeah.
I started writing my own shows because I wanted to like sort of mix something more theatrical and mentalism. I performed it when I was in first year of my engineering school. It worked really well. And so next year I started performing in Paris in theaters in parallel to my studies. And basically it started working really well as well. So I started performing, consulting. I also like stage direct and write other plays as well. And when I finished my studies, it was working well. So I just continued in that direction.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my style of mentalism has always been like a mixture between a scientific approach, a more theatrical and poetic one as well, that comes from like more my theatrical background, and something that is very minimalistic. I really believe in that essence of mentalism.
Yeah, so we share a lot of kind of common points, and clearly in your delivery of readings, there is a clear influence in all the aspects that you mentioned,
Yeah.
negotiation, creating kind of the ambience of understanding, right? Which
Yes.
sometimes is kind of an illusion, but a real kind of way of connecting with other, because in a way communication is always an illusion, right? I
A hundred
am not
percent.
I'm not very sure what you understand of what I'm saying, and you can't be very sure also what I understand from what you said, but at least we agree each other to enter into this kind of trying to understand each other, right? So
Yeah, 100%.
in readings that happens a lot, and in your approach feels like that you take steps, you go back a little bit, you reaffirm, right? So you have kind of that bi-directional nature of readings.
Absolutely. It was one of the things that I wanted to do. Basically, the way I worked on cold reading was that when I started studying it, I felt that it was either things that could be used in like psychic sittings, right? Where you could overtly ask a question to the reader, to the sitter, or something that generates a lot of like Barnum statements and stuff like that, which works fine as well. But I wanted something that I could use sort of reliably in stage shows.
Yeah.
Something where, and especially since um, in France, the spectators are way more skeptical by nature than like Anglo-Saxon people. I don't know
Mhm.
how the audience is in Chile. I'm really curious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of similar, right? In a cultural background, we have a lot of close relationship with the trickster archetype, let's say. So
Mm.
there is always kind of the idea, oh, I want to see how this trick works, right? But in a more kind of comical way, not just in a
Okay.
serious kind of, I am philosophical and you can't fool me, right?
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we have these similarities. But
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so I couldn't see myself like looking at a person going, I'm getting the high priestess. What does that mean to you?
yeah, yeah,
Literally the answer would have been, well, you're the mind reader, you tell me.
yeah,
Basically, sort of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I what I did was I tried to see like the way our language structure naturally works, like in real life,
yes,
just like you said, that
yeah,
this illusion. So by inspiring myself in models, just like I said, in NLP, hypnosis,
yeah,
psychology, and stuff like that, and I sort of started noticing things that happen which can be used in cold reading and allows me to get more information out of people, and other things that explained why some of the readings that I saw felt as if like the person was fishing for information.
yeah,
And so it took me some years to sort of try and adapt and find myself how I'm going to place myself in a position where the worst case scenario, I don't get very detailed, but it feels like genuine. The
mm,
audience member feels like I'm genuinely trying to get inside their mind, or there's
exactly.
genuinely connection going.
Yeah, yeah, because in a way you are doing that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
When we change the perspective of a reading from a monologue with hits, right? Okay, think a playing card, Queen of Hearts, no, the Queen of Diamonds. Oh, okay, so now let's do it, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you have a relative with an R, no, okay, right? It's not about that, it's a conversation. So for
100%.
me, in my experience, readings is kind of a hyper conversation, right?
Mm,
When in this position of the performer, the reader, I understand some of those principles that you are mentioning,
yeah.
and we are creating this kind of intimate ambience in which, let's see, something will
Let's see what
occur.
happens.
I don't know. Really, I don't
Yeah,
know, but something will occur, right? So there's out, there is adjustment, there is these psychological principles that they kind of catalyze mentalism or magic into a new level of real authenticity in which,
yeah,
yeah, I am doing a card trick or a billet, whatever, but this is also as relevant as this and offers a real, genuine feeling that even serves, in my experience at least, as kind of a validation. But
yeah,
I mean, okay, if this is authentic, why this is not authentic, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like with
100%.
pendulum work, right? Okay, the pendulum moves in my hand and the coin is bent. So if the pendulum is genuine, maybe the bent
Maybe
coin is
this is
also,
genuine as
right?
well.
So
I
it's at least a
completely agree.
mysterious, at least it's a
It
mystery that
creates
offers, yeah.
and there is something I think the interesting word which is genuine, which I think is so powerful. I feel a lot of like for instance, I go to see a lot of like other performances of magic and mentalism, for example, especially mentalists, with some of my friends that are not magicians, and I try and see their reactions. And I know that for now that with like a lot of technological uses and stuff like that, everything happens on its own. And I don't know, for some reason we went to see a so he's a really good friend of mine, another French mentalist who tours in theaters as well. And I went to see it with a friend of mine who is not a magician at all. So we went out. It's really entertaining, and it's a really good show with a lot of production value and stuff like that. And I asked her, "Oh, so what did you think about it?" And the first thing she was like, "I don't know how he does it, but I just knows like he gets the information somehow by reading the information secretly or by getting it out of someone. I don't know how, but I'm
Mm.
sure that he's going to get it." And that really fascinated me because
Yeah,
it's not like he flashed something, right? The methods
exactly.
went seamlessly, but there was no risk. There was no
Exactly.
feeling of something genuine.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
moment where you add that genuine thing, it
exactly.
elevates the entire performance to like, oh my
Yeah,
God, he's doing something real.
yeah. And taking that word that you said, flash, is very interesting because I had this idea years ago that we are always flashing. The
I
thing is,
like that.
what am I flashing?
Yeah.
I am offering some light in the real sense of flashing, or I am trying to hide my gimmick or my palming. So hopefully they don't get it. And maybe, as you said, your friend with this big production, all of
Yeah.
that, is just focused into not flashing. But we need to
Yes.
try to change that paradigm to say what I need to flash, what I need to
Hmm.
express, right?
What do
So
I need to show and not what do I need to hide?
exactly, right?
100%.
Showing is needed, right?
Yes.
Sometimes in magic or mentalism, we have this kind of fear of showing,
Hmm.
right? And obviously, we need to hide the coins or whatever, the big piece of paper, but we also need to focus in the other question: what I need to show?
Yes.
What
And
is
it's
the
something that is often like forgotten. I
yeah,
feel a lot of people.
yeah,
The
yeah,
second thing that I also see a lot of like magicians or mentalists getting the mistake is the illusion that people not understanding the method
mm,
also means people being amazed by it.
exactly.
And it's not the same thing. You
Yeah,
can look
that's
at
the thing.
something, not
Yeah,
understand the method,
yeah,
but still go, I feel like there's trickery. I feel like
yeah,
I don't know how you did it. Well done.
exactly.
You fooled
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
but there is no emotion.
yeah,
And so
right.
it's two completely
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah, in that level, the differentiation between process and procedure for me is essential.
Mm,
I mean that procedure, okay, the forcing, the envelope, whatever. Obviously, that needs to feel camouflage into the experience. But what is the process? What is the
mm,
magic movement of the wand that allows the fiction to be created? And especially
yeah.
in mentalism, we don't have much of that. In
Yeah,
magic,
I
the
agree.
wand, or I take the silk, and the silk allows the vanish, or whatever. So in mentalism and in my conceptualization, it's about artifacts. I need to create an artifact that allows the experience for the audience to say, in that moment he
This
got the
happened
word,
somewhere.
right? That
Mm,
happens. There is a magical process in there that I can treasure, and I can feel
yes.
that this is the way. Obviously that's a fiction, right? I am looking you, and maybe there is a kind of sincere desire to connection and all that, of course, but also there is a theatrical element of this is the moment, watch this, don't watch this billet whatever,
Yeah.
or this linguistic pattern. It's not about that. So in
You're
that
flashing
way.
another part.
Exactly, right? Obviously, we need to camouflage that, but I need to show something. This is the beautiful moment. For example, in psychokinetic metal bending, right? I have the spoon, and it's
Yeah.
not just showing the spoon bend, but I need to create something that feels like, look, it's bending now, right? So
Mm,
I am not touching, and the bend is created. So there is
yeah.
something happening in that moment, and I didn't saw it, but I felt it. And that's
100%.
can be erased from the participant's soul, right? I felt it. I,
And it
I
becomes
don't
very
believe it.
interesting. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe I don't believe it in a rational way. I know that telepathy is impossible, but it felt it. So
But it
that's
felt it.
the mystery, right?
No, yeah, 100%. It's one of the things that I try and get my performances to is um to a point where if the audience members that are seeing a show can retell the experience that they had without just explaining the magical effect,
Exactly.
then I
Exactly.
got my point. Because
Yeah.
like if you ask a person, "Oh, what did he do?" "Oh, he just figured out the word or he guessed the word or he found out the word." I remember one of the most hilarious things. I was talking to a friend of mine and she discovered that the first time we met, she discovered that I was a mentalist. And so she told me, "Oh, so you're a mentalist or mind reader? Okay. Well, I have a question for you because last time there was a mentalist that came to my company and he did some stuff. Okay, can I ask you a question?" I was like, "I'm not necessarily going to answer, but sure." And she goes, "Yeah, yeah. How do you guys figure out the first word of the first sentence of a random book?" And I was like, "Oh, damn."
Sure.
I was like, If she remembered all these details,
Uh,
there's
Maybe
a
she
problem.
deserves to say, okay, buy that book test.
Exactly. I was going to tell her where there's something on a book test. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly,
But it means
right?
like we're so focused on like
Yeah, yeah.
the method or like the
Yeah.
procedure, just like you said.
Yeah, 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 right. And in my experience, it's kind of the reverse. When I started in mentalism, I didn't have any props, especially in Spanish. There's no match book test. I created my own, that's why. And at the
Hmm.
beginning, I didn't have one. So, okay, the Hoy book test, the bold book test, the classic one, right? So because I am trained, still trained by Kenton Never, right? Master
Hmm.
of the words. I
Yeah.
understood in my beginnings that I am able to use words to purify the procedure. So we did
Mm.
the book test on stage, right? Open the book to the page 45 or whatever. Okay, see the page. Ah, there is an interesting word at the beginning. Okay, focus on that one, right? It's not me telling her, focus in the first word. Okay, see the page. Ah, there is an inter. She is guiding me in a way, right? In a kind of remote viewing way. Okay, so she got the word and all that. I revealed it with a blackboard and so on, and I was doing a show for my kind of the faculty of psychology because I studied psychology. So in the audience, basically they were my classmates. So in
Hmm.
the next day of classes, because we were all new and they were just knowing Pablo, I hear a group of ladies saying, "Oh, did you saw what he did yesterday? No, he asked her to take any book and check any word, and she revealed it." Right? So hear all that gossiping. I say, okay, this linguistic thing works because I didn't do
Mm.
that, but because I recapitulate in that way. You took the book, you took any word. Now you have that word in your mind, yeah, right?
Yeah, you
So
reframed it.
she was so sure through that reframing that that happened that the
That's
next
awesome.
story was like that, right? So words are powerful. So in the case of this experience that you told, yeah, maybe he was too explicit of, okay, think of the first word, right? But at the same time, we can clarify that, reframe that, and
100%.
create the best book test ever with two normal books.
It's one of the things that you start like learning a lot when you like hypnotherapy or studying therapy in general. Therapy
Yeah,
is literally just taking something that somebody has lived through
yeah,
and reframing the words that they use to see
yeah,
that same thing.
yeah,
That's basically it. And you see that it bends their reality. And
yeah,
once you understand that concept, and just like you said, it's so powerful. It opens up a whole new world of like understanding how we can get to that element of people not feeling like there is something hidden, but feeling like this is the interesting moment.
yeah,
This is where the magic is happening, and it's
yeah,
so different.
yeah, beautiful. And let's focus a little bit in your recent release. Did you have any
Yes.
creator experience in the past? This is your first one?
Yes. So it's I've created and I've released a bunch of stuff in France.
Okay,
So I it's the first initial release. What happened was it's really fascinating. The first time that I ever went, I was still a student in engineering school back then. When I started performing, so I was just discovering this world and talking to people and stuff like that. And I did my first convention, which was Minds in 2019 with Michael
nice,
Murray.
nice.
I went there and I was in awe. Like I saw all the creators that I absolutely loved and a lot of them who are now very close friends. So it was really a huge like experience. And I
Nice.
remember the first time I went to see Peter Tierner, who's now a really good friend of mine, to show him one of the things that I've created. And it was just like a humble sharing of like, yeah, yeah, I did this. What do you think? And it was like, oh my God, that's really amazing. And so he went to ask a lot of people to just show them what I was doing. And
Nice.
after that, I did a small lecture in English called The Multiple Paths, where I was explaining my way of understanding multiple outs, but
Nice.
reframing it so that it doesn't feel like there's multiple outs, basically.
Beautiful.
And it worked out really well. After that, I started creating and consulting in France. So I did a bunch of different lecture or tour dates in France, Belgium. I was in Mainz in 2022 as a lecturer as well. So I did create a bunch of
Nice,
stuff.
nice, nice.
The practical cold reading is the first.
Yeah.
I was supposed to release other big projects as well. The only project that is really out there is One to Match that I released with a friend of mine called Ori Asher.
Mm.
In I don't know when we released that, which was a just one effect, which was our take on the mystery card plot, but where
Okay.
there's no card switching. Basically,
Nice.
that was the
Nice.
essence.
Ah,
Um,
yeah, I remember that one. Maybe that
maybe you saw that past.
because yeah, because your name felt like new, but not really new. That's why I
No,
am
completely.
asking you. Maybe I saw your kind of creative efforts in another place, and maybe that's the one. Yeah,
Maybe that's the one. I know,
yeah,
like in English, these are the two. There are only three places where I performed in English. So it was the Minds Convention, it was the One to Match, and it was the Multiple Paths lecture that some
yeah,
people got, and I got
yeah,
really good reviews on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I was supposed to release other books before, but I was just taken up by other projects. And Practical Cold Reading, the reason why I wanted to release it as a video form, because the rest is I'm finishing up books on them, so hopefully I'll release these soon.
Nice.
With Cold Reading, I felt like there wasn't a place where we were really discussing the direct relationships that's
Yeah,
happening between the reader and the sitter.
yeah,
And it's often like when you read books, they sometimes just tell you, "Oh, like here I just do some cold reading." Or
yeah,
like just do it.
yeah,
What do you mean do? Like,
yeah,
just do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Or it's books explaining like the and I'm not like degrading them. I'm literally sitting on the
yeah, yeah,
shoulders of giants, right? But I felt like there was that lack of visual understanding of what is he looking for at that moment? What is he
yeah,
saying at that specific moment?
yeah.
And when I released it in French, it got a really huge success in the magic and mentalism community.
Nice.
So that's why we decided to release, and I'm so happy with
Yeah,
the reviews. Like I was not expecting to be that
yeah,
like it stayed for 1 week, top one best-selling trick on Vanishing
yeah.
Ink. Is
From the outside, it feels like, oh, finally, right?
yeah,
Finally, someone had this place, especially with Vanishing Ink, right? Great guys, I love them.
yeah,
So popular, right? Sometimes these
mm,
topics in mentalism are so niche, are so
yeah,
kind of you got it or you don't got it, right? Which is not really, there is some truth in that, but there is truth in also the way of this is a system. This there are principles that
mm,
you can apply, and obviously the application is personal. Some things maybe they will not feel natural or whatever to you. Some yes, for sure, but there's some systematic observation of apply this way of talking, say this in this way, observe the reaction, right? So there's a science in this. It's not just
yes,
art of intuition, and of course it works, right? Obviously, but they don't need to be exclusive. They need to be
yeah,
inclusive, right?
100%. Both work together.
Exactly.
Yes, 100%. But well, I'm glad that you got that external part. I was so happy with the with this idea and with the fact that a lot of people were going to be interested in this subject. I was not expecting
Yeah,
that much people getting interested in that subject. And I think what it shows was the lack of like most of the reviews that I'm getting and out of the people that really enjoy it is the fact that they see me do live readings
yeah,
and also do live readings that go less well and show
exactly.
how I adapt myself
That's
to
the
get to
idea.
a place where it's still really
Exactly.
impressive to the audience.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the idea to offer real, something
Mm,
real. And in the real world, there is some adjustments and there is no problem,
100%.
right? As NLP says, everything is feedback. So there are no mistakes. We need
Yes.
that. Okay, this is not about this, it's about that. Ah, oh yeah, sure, of course, right? And I feel that in also in your approach, you are not trying to get hits for me,
No.
which is very important. And you reframe some things to let them know that okay, we are creating connection. I didn't got this, but I got that. It's similar,
Yes.
okay? We are
100%.
working together. But it's not about I am the one getting all the hits and you are an open book for me and I am the master whatever and you are just the one that
Yeah,
is
I
read.
can
No.
read your mind and I can get inside your thought.
Exactly, right?
Especially the fact that if you get into that posture, they won't open up, and so you won't
Exactly.
have the best
Exactly.
effect. No, no, 100%. There were two important things for me, and so before I published the effect in French and then in English with the system, I really tested it out in a one of my theater shows, which I've toured for a couple of years now, where within the show, so it's a play, so I play a character.
Nice.
But it has mentalism inside, and the
Yeah.
people that come on stage become characters of the story. So it's fully
Nice.
immersive. It's a very
Yeah.
weird
Beautiful.
experience. And in at one moment, I remember I was thinking to myself, now that I've sort of like worked out a system and studied all this and that, how am I going to practice?
Yeah.
And so the challenge that I put to myself is, you know what? For your next theater production, you're going to put inside your theater production a 30-minute Q&A act that
Nice.
requires just cold reading,
Beautiful.
and you won't put any plan B on top of that.
Exactly.
when you're backstage, right? And it's you know that like there's a full theater waiting for you, and people have paid to see that, and you go out there and you know there is going to be a time in the show where it forces you to like train as best as possible to get to that place. And this is how I improved so rapidly because
Mm,
in the flair of the moment, there were a lot of techniques where I was like, nah, that's never going to work. Oh, this is interesting. And it started developing. And yes, there were moments when I started off where like the 30 minutes felt a little dull, but I like trusted the rest of the show to
yeah,
be interesting enough to like
yeah,
bring up the entire level. And so that's where it took me to like, okay, now after having performed this 20, 30, 40 times, I don't know, now I know the system works. I know I can use it in real life.
yeah,
And I know that it's regardless of whether it's a trick challenge or trick question or impromptu or live
yeah,
TV or radio, whatever, I have something to back me up.
yeah,
And that was important.
yeah. Which is basically understanding how to connect with other in a deeper way, right?
Yes.
And you are always ready for that, and anyone is always ready for that. So even for those that get the download and maybe they will never reach kind of your style because maybe it doesn't
Mhm.
need to be, but at
Yeah,
least they can appreciate that they have the potential to improve their communication skills in such a way that it feels like something weird happening because this person gets a lot of more than most people. Yeah. Yeah,
100%. That and also improve their natural intuition skills, which is
exactly.
the second thing that really fascinates me is that there is a we often see sort of like a scission between those that say no, intuition is rubbish, it's just thinking process stuff like that. Or you've got the other side, right, that tells you everything is intuition and you got to
Yeah,
listen it to all the time, stuff like that.
yeah,
Me as a scientist, I went to see what neuroscience says, and there's a lot of research on it.
mm,
There's a lot of research on like genuine human intuition and where it's efficient,
yeah,
where it's less efficient.
yeah,
And I tried to like mix all the articles that I've read together to create a system where you can improve your intuition on things that people are reading.
yeah,
And it's amazing to what extent you can get information just by creating that moment of connection,
yeah,
just like you said.
yeah. Yeah, and in my experience, something very weird happens in two different occasions. When I do my
Hmm.
blindfold act,
Yeah.
and when I really, obviously, I can perform the methods of blindfold, but I, in a way, also blindfolded. So I, in a way, get embraced in that darkness of mystery, and I really can get
Mm.
more intuitive insights, right?
That's
So
awesome. You feel that when you're blindfolded, you get more.
is that similar to what you said of putting myself into a risky situation? Okay, I am
Yeah.
here. I am in front of this full theater, and okay, let's do it. In the same way, blindfolded, I I can, I only see a little bit, let's say, and I am in there and I need to trust whatever appears from the unconscious, let's say, right? So
Mm.
if I learn how to grasp that in such a way that in this system of readings create something that someone can appreciate, that's the idea, right? And weird things happen, right? Names, as in your experience, or what
Yeah.
images, what is the meaning of a boat for you. Ah, I love to go with my parents.
To
Okay,
it.
okay. Right? So there's something about your father in this. And maybe I am doing psychometry with an object, right? So
Yeah.
this is an object from a father, yeah. Right? So how did I know it? I don't know, and it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty.
I know how to take the unknown into something that can be feel as unknown, right?
100%. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's I think a lot of like performers can improve whatever they're doing just by giving themselves these open doors, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just opening doors. We're not going like this is the only thing that's happening and this is naturally intuition and if it doesn't work then screw it and whatever. No, because there's the
Exactly.
entertainment, right? And
Yeah.
the audience is here to become amazed and entertained. So we can't remove that professional side.
Yeah.
But it's often when you see like shows or close-up setting or whatever, people come and know I like the difference between process and procedure. They know the
Mm.
procedure, right? They
Mm.
know every single step of the
Yeah.
procedure,
Yeah.
but they don't allow some breathing moments in the procedure.
Exactly. Right.
And
That's
those
true.
breathing moments, this is where like the real miracles happen. But it's the
Yeah.
same thing in theater. Like in
Yeah.
theater, you can memorize your script, right? You can artificially go, well, I'm going to put this emotion here, I'm going to practice this, this is my intention, stuff like that. Which is good because you need to practice yourself and
Mm,
you're a professional. But
mm.
it's also very interesting to let that just moment of breathing to see what happens with my partner on stage. What happens with the audience? What is the emotion that's coming into me? Oh, let's go and dig deep.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because at the same
Yeah.
time you always have like your procedure to fall back on, right?
Yeah, yeah. But at least I am open to the possibility. So
Yes.
if we don't open to the possibility, how can we reach something bigger? We can't
Well,
because we
nothing
are
happens, right?
exactly right. What is known? Okay, I know the method, I know the billet peak, or I know the whatever. Okay, that happened. The goal is achieved. If someone wants to live in that place, sure. But especially if we are mystery performers, right?
Yeah.
Why we are so blocked to the real mystery? So let's see. Whatever happens,
Let's
it
see what
will be
happens.
something.
100%.
Exactly, right? And in my second kind of weird experience that happens a little for me, because English is not my first language,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I perform in English, I observe that my intuition is kind of more needed in a way because I don't know too much
Ooh.
words. I need to find another way to say what I need to say. So in a way, I feel more like a child when I perform in English.
Oh,
So in a way, I am more connected to that pre-rational or
to that moment.
supra-rational, and that's intuitive, right?
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
because
weird.
you less have like structures or
Exactly.
language
Or
patterns are
language.
already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
I
so
am
cool.
I am in a way less confident, so I need to trust in something beyond me in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah, you need to pray and then
Yeah,
hopefully
okay.
then 100%
Guide me
then.
mystery, and it works. Yeah,
No, this is really fascinating.
yeah. For example, years ago, I went to do a penguin lecture, and they
Yeah.
also offered me to do a show. And in that show, with the blindfold act, weird revelation happens. For example, a woman had a heart case, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like a box. Okay, so I receive it. I start to reveal, and I said, okay, I feel that this is kind of a light color object, but the object that is inside is darker, is black. Yeah, yeah, she said that. And we never opened the case. After the show and after the record and all that, the lady was, Pablo, watch, my sunglasses are black as you said. Okay,
Oh
fantastic.
wow.
There's so much weirdness in not knowing, right?
Yeah.
That in a way I also feel surprised for myself. Okay, cool. I don't know. That's the mystery, right?
This is where the interesting things happen. Absolutely. I
Exactly.
remember I was talking to a mentalist friend of mine who's like, "Yeah, no, I don't believe you that you're using intuition or blah blah blah," because so he was telling me that in his experience it doesn't work, and I was like, "Okay, interesting. Talk to me about your experience." And he says, "What do you mean?" I told him, "Okay, so when is the last time you tried really to intuitively guess someone?" Well, never. So like, how do you
Of
know
course,
that
of
it's
course.
not going to work, right? And it's
Exactly.
often that, right? Like you did your peak, and then
Yeah.
you try and guess things are. Yeah, but if you
Yeah.
already have your peak,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not letting your
Yeah.
your
Of course.
like these doors to be opened or these
Exactly.
experiences, the
Exactly.
space for them to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Right.
And I think it's important just to think where I'm going to leave them space.
It's like of the virtue of persistence, right? Because in your
Hmm.
case of your friend, is the worst academic study ever. It's just one participant, right? One participant, it doesn't work. Okay, that's the law. It doesn't work. Of course
That's the
not.
law for everybody. Yeah.
I need a lot of experience, and every investigator also needs the openness to at least allow the hypothesis to at least be a little bit correct, right?
100%. And,
So
and
it's
and
not
try and
about
channel that stuff.
believing. Yeah, it's not about kind of blindly believing, right? Because we can go to another route of the shut eye, right? We believe
Yeah.
everything and we lost ourselves into this error, right? Of too much possibilities. Of course, that there's BS in everywhere and everything, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean that that topic or that idea is false. We need to kind of get discernment as well.
Erase
And
the things. Yeah.
yeah, and when we try to appreciate whatever has value, we find that the intuitive process is as reliable as the thinking process, right? Thinking is not also 100%, but we
Oh,
never,
100%.
yeah, we never criticize, no, thinking is not correct, but I took a decision and it was incorrect. Well, That's nature of life, right? Intuition as well. Doesn't need to be 100%, but offers fantastic possibilities.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it creates really powerful stuff. Like one of the things that I've researched, for example, it's lie detection. There's a lot of research that sort of suggests that lie detection is way more powerful when it's unconscious or intuitive,
Yeah,
rather than when it's consciously
very
decoding the
interesting.
face or whatever.
Yeah.
And they've tried some experiments with I'll share this because I find the experiment funny. They took some people, they showed them a bunch of videos, right? Of people either telling lies or telling truth.
Mm,
And the question was simple: is the video the person in the video lying or telling the truth? Of course, when they answered consciously, we're like around 30% a success, which is not a law, and that makes sense, right?
mm,
People are not trained for that. Now this is where it gets interesting. They asked people, okay, regardless of what you said, on a scale of 1 to 10 of like honest ability,
mm,
where would you place these videos that you saw? And what happened was that even though like you would see two videos and you'd say both of them are true in your perspective, one of them you would place like at 9 and the other one you would place at 6.
mm.
And what they noticed is that people, when they were asked to like put them on a scale, they
Yeah,
put the real liars less believable
yeah,
than the truth tellers.
yeah,
But at the same time, when they asked them to like, do you both think they're still telling the truth?
yeah,
And people go, yeah, 100%. But this one at 6 and this one at 9. You're like, how the
yeah,
hell? So there is something in them, right? That, like that sort
exactly.
of analyze this or believe this. And I truly believe that, like, as humans, we can get so much information out of other people.
Yeah,
Once we have like the structured method and understanding, just like you said, what we take and what we erase, and not just going
yeah,
fully blinded
yeah.
in it.
And in a weird way, we find when we don't try to search, right?
Mm, mm,
Because when we try to search, we put too much mental and rational effort, and that blocks sometimes the more intuitive. Yeah, of course, the feeling, but it's not even just a feeling. Is kind of this instinctual kind of understanding, right? So
yes.
sometimes and that happens especially in the topics of readings when okay, I am the reader and I need to read you, and sometimes in
Mm,
my work I even question or reflect about the concept of reading because it's not much as a reading but as I said, like a special conversation in
yeah.
which at least one of us will design this amplified experience that in a way we can have anywhere, right? Kenton says every conversation is a reading because
Yeah, that's
if
true.
we are here now, there is so much that we can extract and understand that that experience can feel like supernatural, but is as natural as anything that we can do.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the way that I try and put myself in a specific state is how do I have a specific objective in mind when I'm doing a reading, but at the same time and am open to opportunities that come along the way.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's that perfect balance between them because if you're just without any objective, well, you can get out of the reading without anything interesting happening. It
yeah,
can still be nice, right? But it's like, yeah, well, we talked, and then yeah, but what is the objective? Like, what is
yeah,
it can be a thought, it can be a feeling, it can be understanding a moment, whatever, but a
yeah,
specific objective.
yeah,
But at the same time, I'm not just focused on that objective. I'm opening up to see what opportunities can come along the way so that I can take them in.
yeah, exactly right. So, years ago, I created something that I is not published. Maybe we can talk about that, but
Mm,
it's kind of a similar approach to yours, kind of practical cold reading.
yeah.
But I remember this kind of experience because what you said at last that is kind of okay. I am here, you are here. The goal is connection, the goal is mystery, the goal is let's see what happens. And I have
Hmm.
some kind of mentalism methods to do this, sometimes in a what I call a parallel experience. So maybe I will reveal a color,
Mm,
maybe I will reveal something with more structural method, let's say anagrams or
yeah.
kind of fishing or whatever. But because the goal is connection, I will open my intuition, I will open my psychological skills to observation and discernment, and let's create something, right? So it's not even my reading routine because I don't know. Maybe I will,
Mm.
maybe it's just, let's say, a good wish, right? So maybe I ask the participant to give her the palm so I can watch the palm, and
Yeah.
maybe that will evolve into, or I can send some energies, or maybe I don't know, right? So that's why maybe I will never publish it because there is no claim to do, right?
Oh
There is no
yeah.
effect, right? I can't promise you that something specific will occur.
Will happen.
Maybe connection, right? And that's kind of the key. So yeah, I call it meta mentalism. I treat it.
Meta-mentalism. I
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
idea.
right. So there is a lot of possibilities. I don't know. Let's see what happens, right? And when I do it, it's cool because sometimes I add five ESP cards or maybe write the words on someone. I just pick it without bullet techniques, just watch it, right? Doesn't matter, right? The thing is, let's create something memorable in this moment because every moment is unique. So we are kind of
Mm.
celebrating the uniqueness of this moment. Let's see what happens. So focus, okay? Let's see your past. Let's see your present. Let's see your future. And from that I go,
And then
right?
you see what happens. That's so
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one of the keywords that you said here is creating memorable events, and I feel
yeah,
like a lot of performers have sort of forgotten that aspect of like we're focused on the trickery or
yeah,
showing that we have the skills
yeah,
or getting to doing exactly the method that we
yeah,
learned, right? Because it's also how like the magic and mentalism industry works, right?
yeah.
If you think about it, and it's a bit sad, but at the same time, it's the power. It's the only
Exactly.
art form in the world where there is an industry teaching you a bunch of methods, right?
Yeah,
Like you take, I see the piano, and I'm a musician as well. Take music, take theater, take juggling. I don't know. All other form of art, you don't have something that's telling you, oh, you can learn piano in 5 minutes, easy
yeah,
to do, instant
yeah,
reset,
yeah, yeah,
right? Great emotion.
yeah,
It doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And so we're so
Everyone will
focused.
cry when you play the song.
Where, yeah, no, you want to learn piano, you struggle a lot at first. You start
Exactly.
learning, like, I don't
Yeah,
know, chords
yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that. But we're stuck in that thing of like easy to do, instant reset or whatever.
Exactly.
And so I think that it should have changed. Like, bear in mind, I really love the chance that we have, right? It's a huge opportunity that we have
Okay.
of having that industry, of having creators like us
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
or getting these ideas and developing. I think it helps a lot the art form to develop at a pace that no other
Exactly.
art form can.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, like the other side of the medallion, you also get that laziness come out sometimes because we're just focused on like consuming
Exactly.
and not focusing on creating memorable experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that, authenticity is essential because what can I say that no one in the world can say? Sometimes
Mm,
that question I offer to different people in the courses that I offer, and people say, I don't know. Okay, let's explore it. Because I know that you have a story. I
yeah.
know that you have a unique way to do any card at any number, or the use of that cool impression pad that you had that you pay $1,000, but there is somewhere in your thing, right? Okay, so it's not about the method. If you want to use that, cool. If you want to use just a billet switch from Al Baker, cool. Now, why? What do you want to bring into the conversation? The focus in someone that passes away, or maybe someone that you love and you want to people to connect with that loved person. Okay, you
Mm,
can use anything, it doesn't matter, right? So I completely agree with you that sometimes is so much focus into method, into
yeah.
the obviously we need beautiful, and that's why I also feel that the community feels so grateful of your releases, and I am part of that
Oh,
because
thank you.
we need more commercial releases because in Mentalism Center we are not as commercial as all the companies, and obviously it's not my goal, but it's very cool to see this topic of reading, cold reading, and doing it practically. So to say to people, okay, learn the new double lift or the unique gimmick, but
Yeah,
also you can learn this, and
you can learn this.
also, as you said, the marketplace can play like a devil tricks, but also it's an opportunity to. This is the thing that you need to learn, and this is
Mm,
now in the top list as the gimmick or the new name writer or whatever. Also, this is about you learning some things that really have value. It's not just you have it or you not have it. You have the
yeah.
angel or not. Right now, everyone can have. the skills to create something deeper using the impression board or whatever, but
100%.
adding this a little bit, okay, so if I can get the name of someone, why not? And if
Yeah.
not, I will find a way to connect it meaningfully with the final revelation that I had with the book test or whatever.
100%. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're seeing it that way, and I'm so happy as well that like it's just like you said, it's getting that part of like being more commercially available and interesting to people,
Yeah.
which was not something that I anticipated. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's really nice to see the
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
of the community.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. So that's why also I invite you to this conversation, and I am grateful for your openness, for your sincerity. And when we start to talk in Facebook,
Yeah.
I can sense that okay, this is a genuine brother. So thank you for your time, Taha. Any last
Thank you
words that
so
you want to
much.
share with our community at Mental Center?
Oh, yeah, maybe one thing. In like the different things that I teach in like communication, in parallel to mentalism, my main job as well is like teaching influence in companies and to improve like the communication. The most powerful thing that I've ever discovered and which can help so many entertainers is curiosity. We are losing it more and more. People feel like they're curious, but they're never really asking real questions, right?
Yeah.
Most of the questions that we ask, unlike here, are actually verifying things, not really sincere questions. And if there is one thing that I can say is be curious. If you read that something happens and it doesn't work, well, try it out. Test out new things. Be open to the possibility. And this is where like the magic really happens with curiosity.
Beautiful. As Milton Erickson said, if something doesn't work, try another thing. It's as simple as that,
Perfect.
right? Just work out your inner magic and you will find something new. So I am very glad and very grateful again that you are sharing your work with us. So thank you for your time, Taha, and thank you everyone who is watching this. Have a beautiful day.